management was initially worried about how safe the environment would be. He expressed appreciation for the exercise and urged that it be done effectively to achieve the intended purpose.
Following the launch of the disinfection exercise between the Ghana Armed Forces and Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, we are here in the eastern region in the St. Anthony Barracks in Akim Ashiesu. And Zoom Lion Ghana is taking the initiative to disinfect their offices, the barracks, and all other facilities that are necessary in the barracks.
Okay, so we have people coming in and going out every now and then. So there's a likelihood that the virus will also be existing within our premises. So we feel like it's very important to have Zoom Lion, come here to come and disinfect our facilities. We have students coming here every now and then to train. Currently, we have some students training. So it's very important that we have Zoom Lion come and do this disinfection for us, so that the facility will become, disinfected from any COVID-19 within the premises. Okay, so this is not a very big compound, but we have several offices, we have several classrooms where students study. Okay, so this disinfection is going to be done at those very locations. So the headquarters, when you get to the gate, there's a guard point there where we have soldiers perform duties there. So that place is also going to be disinfected. The classrooms where students occupy and take lessons is also going to be disinfected so that the place becomes clean, for them to be able to have lectures.
Right, so this is clean. Have you recorded any case here?
So far, we haven't recorded. I'm surprised you are saying that because we have, I don't know whether, when you enter right from the gate, there's a bucket, Veronica buckets there. Even the guards there have the temperature guns to make sure that everybody that enters is scanned before they enter into the camp. At each location, at the various lecture halls, there are Veronica buckets in front of each of them for the students to wash their hands before they go, and even after they come. Students are required to wear nose masks whilst in classroom and when they are undergoing training. So you come to the mess, you can see just behind me there, we have two Veronica buckets just in front of the officers' mess, where officers who come to eat have to wash their hands before they enter into the mess to eat, and then wash after they go back. So the protocols have been observed strictly very here.
Do you have any idea the number of officers that are here? The total number?
Yes, the school has approximately 100 staff, but we currently have about 69 students undergoing training here.
Okay, may I know if it was a request you made or it was Zoom Lion's own initiative to come in?
Okay, so following the launch by Zoom Lion and then the Ghana Armed Forces, Zoom Lion offered, with our cooperation, to come and then disinfect our premises for us. Okay, so we are very grateful to Zoom Lion for taking that initiative. It's been very helpful, and we believe that following this, the camp is going to be very clean, and any traces of COVID-19 within the area will be cleared.
Okay. So the command here at this barracks were very grateful to Zoom Lion for the disinfection, and they also indicated about they have not recorded any case of COVID-19 in the barracks. Reporting for Pan-African News, my name is Derek Butche, St. Anthony Barracks, Achiasi in the Eastern region.
So, on the local front, in the aftermath of Tuesday's downpour that wreaked havoc and claimed 5 lives in Accra, some residents of Kokomlemle have expressed worry over poor drainage system in their community. Speaking to Pan-African TV News, they called on government to fix or address the problem within the shortest possible time before it's too late.
At Ring Road behind Paloma Hotel, and we have a major drainage here who links to the Odo drain. The slabs have broken and we have debris here in the drain. Now we are here asking the residents, we want to know exactly what causes the flooding here, and they said so many things that some of the residents throw rubbish into the drain, and some too is because of the breakage in the slabs. So when it rains, it floats, overflows and comes to their houses. We are here, we are taking their reactions, what they have to say, and some are complaining that various governments have been here just to help them, but then they've not taken any actions yet. They said this has been here ever since the June 3rd disaster that happened and claimed several lives and properties. So we are right here behind Paloma Hotel at Ring Road, and we will be taking the reactions of residents, what they have to say about the drainage and how it affects them.
Na problem aye wo ha se ni se nsu ni to a haye wo ha pa se ya na manfo de nyama gu gata no mu ne ade ade ye ka kiro mu da manfo nso corporate wo kire ha se ade haye bebiri ye wo ha se so we ha se na utun se yo mu se ye nsu kwan ba se nsu ni to free mountains no so na se e ba etumi ye ma obra na ha se na nsu enyan toy. For example, no nyumbe si nsu no toy no na aha nyina yiri brana nsu no nya enru has enyan to hasi eye nti ye how ye wo hasi eno no.
Okay, yeah, most of the times nsu to awo ya na higher nsu to most of the times no gata nsu no ntimi nye de e mana aye den I ma by fear. Even crampo last time during lockdown no amount for crampo what change man area crampo there nothing, we didn't even get anything nti aban na gasa support via in fear aban ho gata na say almost 5 years ni almost for support via am benya hwe fa nti so ne to asa ana na nti that's it.
The gotai nsu to a ye nya ho to e hype pa nsu no ye mape ne every top ha nyina e ko nsu enum no enko biom wenu ye ma na epushi we nti efie ha nyina area ha nyina e hype papa penifo ba ha bebri o ma ya hu ne o so mbeye o mutimi nya hwe no makọ afeso ne esa high wa ha titiri woni say ye ni public toilet so wa ha profo gota na no ha ya mu da ha nyina ye toilet high edum ne bi so mo fa nkrofo mbachichi nkrofo ha ka krapa no ma sa aja o mu nti ha nyina ye toilet nti ye hia nya ba no betimi aye no on be no ndi mbu e wa ha nsuo no any toilet public toilet so ehia pa
ebi a mo de bola na ade gu gotanim o mo ata ma nsuo no to no mo sesa bola ne besi gotana no na nsuo de start e pe no mu de agum ti nsuo no bola no kope na akọ choke ti etumi yire fa ha nyina tuma ya ho kire ti aban so hwemia o tiemia de meka no omo mla no mmeboae ena one thing so water was from on be two na said o sisi ha no o mu sisi ha ye.
Still on the local front, so far about 65 candidates, mostly sitting members of parliament, are going into the June 20th, 2020 New Patriotic Party's primaries without opponents. Now, according to the party's General Secretary, John Boydu, those candidates who were cleared unopposed to no one qualified to contest them, or those who initially filed to contest them withdrew from the primaries.
Among these are Majority Leader Lawrence Osei Chairman Sabonsu Swami, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament Joseph Osei Owusu Bekwai, Minister of Education Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempe, Mensha South, Minister of Sports Isaac Kwame Siama, Echimamponia, Minister of Works and Housing Samuel Atachin, Abuakwa South, Minister of Communications Esla Owusu Ekufo, Ablekuma West, Frida Akosio Hine, Afrewo Prempe, Tano North, Augustine Collins in Team, Ofinso North, Siaka Stevens, Jaman North, and Ignatius Pafo Ewa, Sunyani West. The unopposed candidates include Kennedy Ohine Japan, Asin Central, Mavis Hawakumsin, Ewutu Senya East, Brian Yawe Champon, Abetifi, and Patricia Pieja, Asokwao. The others are Abena Osei Asari, Etiwa East, Kwesi Amwakwata, Etiwa West, Daniel Kwekubotre, Okere, Vincent Kojo Poninkuma of Fasia Urebi, and Henry Korte, Ayawaso Central. Dr. Arthur Kennedy has said no incumbent would need protection if they have invested in good works in their respective constituencies. He He stressed that the best protection for an incumbent is good performance. According to him, whenever an incumbent is afraid of competition, then it is a self-confession that he might not have done as well as he is claiming. Some of the supporters of disqualified aspirants resorted to invoking curses of the party's leadership for the outcome of the voting. They have since been recommended for suspension. Dr. Arthur Kennedy said it is even ironic that even some former MPs were disqualified in the process. For him, the party is only democratic on paper. He reiterates that some of the things that have been done could have been done better.
Still on the New Patriotic Party's primaries, Secretary of the Socialist Forum of Ghana, Justice Akufo-Heneko, has waded into the New Patriotic Party's decision to field candidates and disqualify others ahead of its hugely anticipated primary slated for June 20th this year. Now, according to him, the stance taken by the party contravenes the tenets of democracy in the country.
Claimed or self-acclaimed, for that matter, Democratic Party, which touts its democratic credentials, to decide to stifle competition within its ranks and decide to choose members of parliament for the constituencies. Normally, members of parliament are supposed to be members who represent the free will of the constituency party and who later on go for elections in the constituency. So for now, a centralized body staying in Accra to decide for the people of Edriso who should become their candidate, it is indeed a paradox for a party, a self-acclaimed democratic party. And there's no doubt. That's why there's a lot of agitation down at the level of the constituency parties. How can it be democratic if the owners of the party, who are supposed to be its members, are deprived of the right to choose their representatives? I mean, representation is not done from a centralized body, from the top. Representation is always done from the bottom, from the people who you are going to represent. And if that right, that power, people people are disenfranchised, of course, your touting of you being democratic sounds hollow. Well, it's interesting that the feudal aspects or the feudal makeup of the NPP is also coming to the fore. People taking the backward way of going to invoke curses and going to the riverside, etc., etc. It shows the type of parties we have in our country. Parties which are not modern, but which have a backward streak as well. As far as violence is concerned, yes, there could be a certain amount of violence. But my advice would be that those who disagree with that posture might as well also field their candidates as independents. You understand? Because they have a right to. If the party becomes impervious to reason, the party does not open the democratic space for them to participate, then I will advise them that they should peacefully organize around their candidates to become independent or to join other political parties to represent the people. The 2020 elections will depend on a whole lot of factors. It will depend on the present registration exercise. It will depend on the other political parties and how strong and organized they are or not. And it will also depend on the NPP. In the end, the people of this country would decide. The environment which is created for them to decide will also indicate whether they would decide for the NPP or not.
He urged Ghanaians to be mindful during this year's election and equally advised that they elect transformational and visionary leaders to move the nation forward.
Well, what I want to tell Ghanaians is that there is an alternative. There needs to be an alternative. This neoliberal parties who have been practicing the same system, the same economic system, the same political and social system since especially 1982, they are not taking us to progress. So we should look for an alternative. It's only an alternative to the present system which will create employment, will create economic progress, will open up the political space and bring about social progress for our people.
If you just joined us, you are live on Pan-African Television's 12 Media News broadcast on our channel Pan-African Television. You're also streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. You're going for a short breather. We'll return shortly. Do stay with us.
And natural hair. I am Mikesh Crown Salon. Now, keeping natural hair with dreadlocks, no, I idea unyame eboma meno. Now, you who suche and I say maintenance and a lack of knowledge, no, and ama the air metaika abrofo and obruni alo ablofui to pollute our natural hair with the harsh, dangerous chemicals. In some way, I am known in starting training, teaching, preaching the gospel according to maintaining natural hair with these lovely natural organic products. Now, they say no, you be school now, ma'am. Zebra, na be shia unsano ejuma for you to be one of the best locticians in the whole wide world. It's an ejuma way, it's an ejuma oshia odi kobe bia. It's an say. To be a loctician, no, is a job the world need you today. Na natural hair ya de bia say no e papa na manfuaji atu no stigmatization, no bad names for dreadlocks and natural hair. Entino me boko ko say brana besua sa nimdie we efa dreadlocks, sisters locks, Nubian locks, Afro locks, cultivated locks, organic locks, micro locks, Caucasian locks, twist locks, real lock, hand twist, comb twist, flat twist. Sa normal way nyina no brana besua usua wie na yehwe ohomodem bo a etimi eju esan say Mikesh Training Academy no ye branches bebre wo Ghana ha etimi employ and I say etimi esu employ outside the country.
If you want to learn all the techniques in natural hair and dreadlocks, please pick up a form in any of our branches. Also, for bulk purchases of our natural herbal products, please call 0542 126072 or 0277 454287.
Mikesh is the king of dreadlocks.
You don't know Stonewall representing, I mean, I said dreadlock to the world. BOT. Your natural hair is the crown of your glory. Mikesh! Why you pay?
Many thanks for staying tuned. If you're just tuning in, this is Pan-African News at 12. You're also streaming live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. Now to the rest of our stories, still on the local front. Now, the National Democratic Congress Director of Elections, Elvis Efiri-Ankra, has taken a swipe at the Electoral Commission for conducting a pilot exercise of registering voters, which ended last week in some parts of the country. Now, addressing party faithful as the NDC celebrated its 28th birthday, he equally expressed worry over difficulties the Electoral Commission faced in conducting that particular exercise.
And our observations have even confirmed our worry on the lack of preparedness of the EC to conduct a credible election in 2020. Overall, the exercise was characterized by very slow and frustrating registration processes, inadequate, malfunctioning registration equipment, and a tedious personal guarantee process for the many applicants without passports or Ghana card identification. To begin with, our observation of the exercise showed that the process for registration was generally slow throughout all the regions, the 16 regions. On average, it took between 20 to 30 minutes for an individual to register. For example, it took over 40 minutes to complete a registration per person in Greater Accra, 21 minutes in the Volta region, 40 minutes in the Western North region, 23 minutes in the Northern region, and 15 minutes in the Eastern region. The process for registering using the personal guarantee for those without a passport and the Ghana card was particularly cumbersome and time-wasting, leaving most applicants frustrated and disinterested in continuing with the registration. This implies that with an average of 20 minutes per person, the EC, even without the usual crowd pressure, can only be able to register 3 persons or maximum 4 per hour and 30 persons per day, a situation that would deny many qualified Ghanaians their right to register and vote. Furthermore, there were general concerns on malfunctioning and inadequate biometric registration equipment, network and technical challenges which greatly interrupted with the registration process. In the Western region, for instance, not a single person was able to go through the registration due to the poor state of the equipment and technical difficulties that were encountered. In the Greater Accra region, the process was very slow due to faulty equipment. By the 11th registrant, the equipment broke down. It took about 15 minutes to fix it. By about 1:30 p.m., only 11 persons had been registered, and only 6 were provided with cards. In the Bono region, out of 28 forms filled, only 13 cards were successfully issued. In the case of those without passport or Ghana card, there were technical challenges which were directed to the EC National Office for solution, and eventually denied potential registrants the required parameters to be successful. On the observance of COVID-19 protocols, generally, the social distancing protocols were not strictly adhered to. Although vertical buckets and hand washing soap were provided at the centers, there was no strict compliance to washing of hands before entering the registration zone.
So on the NDC, the Opposition National Democratic Congress has held its 28th national anniversary or birthday yesterday in Accra. Now, the memorable event was graced by some national executives of the party as well as the flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. My colleague George Yosin Vinay has more.
The National Democratic Congress was founded on June 10, 1992 at Cape Coast in the Central Region. With the umbrella as its symbol, unity, stability, and development remains her enduring motto. The party won general elections in 1992, 1996, 2012, and is currently preparing to contest this year's edition to be held on December 7th, 2020, with former President John Dramani Mahama as the flag bearer. A flag raising ceremony was held at the party headquarters to commemorate 28 years of its existence, which has had its fair share of successes and failures. Addressing the gathering, flag bearer of the party John Dramani Mahama touched on the gains made so far and assured the Ghanaians of better days ahead if elected into office.
Out of the 28th Fourth Republican experiment, the management and administration of this country has been in the hands of the NDC. It is those 16 years that account for the sustained growth and improvement in the lives, especially of our rural population, sped and rapid social and economic across the country.
The leader of the party has also served notice that they will resist any flawed result after the December poll.
We all await the hearing of our highest court tomorrow to determine whether we have a flawed election or we have an election that we have confidence in, that the will of the people has been properly expressed. As a party, we have participated in every election in the Fourth Republic, and we have a history of accepting results of elections whenever we have believed in the integrity of the poll. As leader of the NDC, I wish to serve notice that we shall do our part to ensure that our country remains peaceful and that the electoral process proceeds smoothly. But, and a big but, let nobody assume that we will accept the results of a flawed election.
National Chairman of the party, Samuel Ofosu Ampofu, outlined some activities to commemorate the celebration and stressed that the party will strive tirelessly to wrestle power from the ruling New Patriotic Party.
As part of activities for our commemoration, let us observe the following. All party officers are to fly the party flags. And those who also have it on their cars, please, from today, let us fly our party flags on our cars. All party executives, members, supporters, and sympathizers to display their party paraphernalia. All branches to hold branches meetings this weekend and submit attendance records to constituency executives for submission to national headquarters. In fact, all those who are on WhatsApps and are always very loud on WhatsApps, this time we want them to transform the WhatsApp meetings into branch meetings. They should take pictures at their branch meetings and put it on their WhatsApp platforms to assure us that they belong to branches. They want to work for the party at the branches because it is at the branches that elections are won.
Director of Special Duties at the party headquarters, Betty Zeden, also expressed delight with being a member of the National Democratic Congress.
The most organized political party as compared to other political parties. The NDC is the most organized political party as compared to other political parties. In fact, most of the other political parties are learning from the organizational prowess and organizational strategies of the NDC. The NDC has hardly learned anything from any other political party. All the other political parties have had to learn from the NDC. So I'm very proud. I'm very proud. Yes, it is true that some time ago we had challenges in the NDC, and as a result of those challenges, some of us had to leave for a while. But like the saying goes, home is home, and so we have found our way back home, and I'm very proud to continue to be a member of the NDC.
Thank you very much. George Yelson, Vinay, Pan-African News.
Still on the local front, Deputy National Communication Officer of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, Godwin Akogan, has said his party would not allow any machinations in the upcoming general elections. Now, according to him, surveys conducted by the National Democratic Congress predict victory for the party, hence attempts by the Electoral Commission to disenfranchise some voters.
Elections is scientific. And everything that we do, or all efforts that we put into this election, must be based on science and data. Not just the science and data of this COVID, that science is not proving anything. But we have done a lot of surveys that has told us or predicted where the elections is going to go. And as a party, we are not resting on our oars. The president said that we are going to follow through this process, and we are going to match the process boot for boot. Which simply means that from where the ballot papers will be the night before, that is the police station, through to the morning, that the ballot papers and the ballot box going to come to the police stations, and from there to the collation centers.
Okay.
We are going to follow through boot for boot. We will not allow anybody to say that this box is going to, you are going to put this box in my car and then we leave the person to go. No way.
Okay.
We are going to follow the process through.
Okay.
So for us, we know that per the surveys we've done, per the research and all those things, victory is coming.
Okay.
And I know that the MPP has also done the same. And they have seen that there is no chance for them this elections 2020.
Okay.
That is why they have gone into the process of getting victory through the back door. When you say getting victory through the back door,
okay,
it means that this effort of doing a new voter register 6 months to the elections, what does it signify? The truth is that they have seen that the elections is not going well, and all efforts to disenfranchise some people, because if you don't have any mindset of disenfranchising people, how can you decide that the whole of Ghana, we are going to use 2 cards for this registration? A passport and then NIA card.
Court has today adjourned the hearing involving the Electoral Commission's decision to compile a new voters register, as well as exclude the old voters ID card as a breeder document. Now, this follows the Parliament's approval of CI 126 to pave way for the Electoral Commission to compile a new voters register pending the December elections.
So we're currently at the Supreme Court of Ghana, precisely here in Accra, and on the 8th of June 2020, the Electoral Commission files a report at the Supreme Court that the legal basis at which it has planned to refuse the existing voters' identification card as a form of identification in the upcoming mass exercise, voters registration exercise. Now, the EC explained that the compilation of the new register that does not depend on the existing voter's ID card will give the registrar to be compelled more credibility than the existing register. Now, last 2 days, Parliament approved that the CI, which is the constitutional instrument, which is CI 126, to prove or pave way for the Electoral Commission to pass and compile a new voters register, excluding the old register as a requirement. Today, at the Supreme Court, they were here to conclude whether or not we are going to use the old register for the election come 2020. Now, the case has been adjourned to 23rd of June 2020, as to when we are going to give you detailed report as in the way forward come election. Now, the Deputy Attorney General, which is Lawyer Godfred Odome, was here to see through with the process, as well as the 2 formal Attorney General, which is Madam Betty Moult Idrusu, as well as Madam Lita Brew, were here at the court to see through with the process, whether or not we are going to use the old register for the registration come 2020. So until then, we are going to give you full and detailed report. My name is Maud Ananenati, reporting for Pan-African Television News.
Now let's move away from Ghana history to Nigeria, where Nigeria, Africa's biggest economy and most populous country, is reeling from the impact of coronavirus pandemic. A steep drop in the international oil prices, Nigeria's major export since the outbreak of the coronavirus, has sparked fears of a recession.
Nearly 12,500 cases of coronavirus, including 354 deaths, are confirmed in Nigeria. The United Nations reports lockdown measures aimed at containing the spread of the deadly disease could result in as many as 13 million job losses if the restrictions go on for very much longer. The World Food Programme warns this world unleash a situation of widespread hunger in a country where some 19 million people live on less than $2 a day. In response, the agency says it plans to scale up its operations to feed 3 million of the neediest people. WFP spokeswoman Elizabeth Baez says among those who will benefit from the program are city dwellers in Kano, Abuja and Lagos, who are particularly hard hit by the socio-economic knock-on effect from COVID-19.
Finally, Zimbabwe is withholding travel documents for thousands of returning nationals following reports that some have escaped from isolation centers. Now, the government says this will ensure they remain in the centers and help to stop the spread of COVID-19 in the country.
Returnees complain that they are forced to stay at the quarantine centers for too long without being tested for coronavirus. They also say the facilities are inhabitable and they do not have adequate food supplies. The government said it will ensure maximum security at the isolation centers. Information Minister Monica Mutvangwa has agreed that the identification or travel documents will be collected from returnees on arrival and returned to them at the end of the quarantine period.
Coming up is business. Stay with us.
African Center for Capacity Building, AFCA, organizes the following executive and advanced certificate programs like Executive Certificate in Project Management, Executive Certificate in Human Resource Management, Executive Certificate in Real Estate and Property Management, Executive Certificate in Data and Records Keeping, Executive Certificate in Monitoring and Evaluation, Executive Certificate in Logistics and Transport Management, Executive Certificate in CCTV Monitoring and Installation. AFCA, where capacity building is our priority. For registration and enquiries, please call 0244 405047, 0242 135523. We have our branches in Accra, Tamale, Kumasi, and Wa. Saturdays and weekdays sessions are available. Admission is still in progress. Enroll now. Join the African professionals. AFCAP, where capacity building is our priority.
Thanks for staying tuned. Now let's head straight into the world of business, where the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has cautioned farmers against the misuse of agrochemicals on vegetables to protect themselves and consumers from food poisoning. Now, the Ahafo Regional Plant and Protection Officer of the Plant Protection Research Services Directorate, PPRSD, of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Michael Kuma, advised vegetable farmers to check labels of agrochemicals when they buy and apply them accordingly.
Speaking in an interview on the sidelines of a stakeholders meeting held at Duayaunkwanta in the Tano North municipality of the Ahafo region, Michael Kuma regretted some wholesalers aided ignorant vegetable farmers to misapply agrochemicals on their crops. This, the buyers believed, was the right method of storage, as misuse of the chemicals on the crops protected the vegetables like lettuce, cabbage, okra, and tomatoes from getting rotten. The meeting was attended by representatives from the Ghana Standard Authority, Food and Drugs Authority, MOFA, and farmers.
Coming up is our story from our international partners, People's Dispatch. Do stay with us. We are back shortly. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now to our story from our international partners, People's Dispatch. On June 9, the Austrian left groups, including the Party of Labour of Austria, PDA, and the Communist Youth of Austria, KJO, has criticized the Austrian government's bailout for private airline. The conservative Austrian People's Party, OVP, Greens-led government has issued a 150 million euros, equivalent to 170 million US dollars, as direct state aid, and 300 million euros, equivalent to 340 million US dollars, worth loan to Austrian Airlines AUA and a subsidiary of the Lufthansa Group.
Communist Youth of Austria has accused that, once again, OVP and Greens prove which side they really are on. While there are allegedly no funds to increase unemployment benefits, hundreds of millions of euros of tax money are quickly found, which they can throw in a corporation. And best of all, there isn't even corresponding state participation. The government of capital shows its true face, while hundreds of thousands of working people are on the verge of their existence and receive no special support. A German corporation is practically thrown at all taxed money. It's scandalous, added KJO. In Zeitung der Arbeit, Party of Labour of Austria has opined that in the gap of protecting the jobs of airlines and for marinating AUA hub in Vienna airport, the state has succumbed to the Lufthansa's extortion implied with a subtle threat of simply bankrupting the AUA unless they receive a state ransom. Lufthansa itself has to contribute 150 million euros to finance its wholly owned subsidiary AUA. It can easily do that with the 8.7 billion USD package that the German government agreed to give them. The German state also receives a 20% stake in the group for its donation. The Austrian state receives nothing for its gifts, added PDA. PDA has also criticized the previous Social Democratic of Austria-led governments for privatizing the Austrian airlines and selling off almost all of the republic's nationalized operations.
Meanwhile, on June 10, Wednesday, the Communist Youth Group in Finland, Kommunister, has condemned the proposal to remove Soviet Finland Friendship Monument in Helsinki. Now, on June 9, Mikko Kana, MP for the Centre Party, made a proposal to remove the Hakaniemi World Peace Statue in Helsinki and Friendship of Peoples Monument in Itäkeskus.
Communisti Nueret has issued a statement on Wednesday protesting Mr. Kane's proposal not called the progressive sections in the country to protect the monuments. World Peace statue made by Oleg Kejuhin was unveiled in Hakaniemi, Helsinki on January 14, 1990 and was a gift from the Moscow city to Helsinki as part of friendship and cultural exchange program. The artwork was made by Oleg Kejuhin. Monument to the friendship of the peoples at Itäkeskus was sculpted by Antti Novenen in 1983 to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Finno-Soviet Treaty of Friendship, Cooperation and Mutual Assistance. In their statement, Communisti Nuere has stated that the proposed monuments represent not only the city's historical stages and relations abroad, but also, as its name implies, peace and friendship. Friendship of peoples and world peace. Every effort must be made to protect these ideas in our modern world against fighter warlords and national defense rights. Kane's initiative is a symbolic attack on peace and solidarity. We do not accept his policy on a practical or symbolic level. The attack of these monuments must be repelled by all possible means. The cityscape of Helsinki must also include images other than those bourgeoisie and the great men of warriors. Although dissenting opinions and ideas offend and bring tears to the eyes of Bugios Kana and his friends, we refuse to give up images of our ideas. While the friendship of peoples greatly offends the lawmakers of a fundraising by selling statues as scrap metal to increase the city in Helsinki's cafes, it's better to scrap and melt the statues of white warlords and servants of the capital in the city.
Finally, on the international front, teachers and students in Greek have observed education strike and march in Athens and other Greek cities on June 9 in another round of mobilization protesting the controversial education bill proposed by the conservative New Democratic Government, ND. Now in Athens, the protesters have marched to the Greek parliament where debates on the bill started on Tuesday and voting on the bill is likely to take place on Wednesday, the following day.
Well, the mobilization was given by teachers' unions, including school teachers' unions, students' coordination committees, parents' groups, all workers' militants front. 902.gr reported that mobilizations were also organized in Volos, Grevena, Ikaria, Kalamata, Kalimnots, Kefalonia, Corfu, Kozani, Kos, Larissa, Lemnos, Leros, Polymaida, Preveza, Trikala. Mobilizations are scheduled on June 10 in Thessaloniki and Lamia, and in Chaos, a rally is scheduled for June 11. The Communist Party of Greece has expressed the opposition to the bill and stated that they will vote against the bill in the parliament. KKE MP Manolis Sintichaki said all governments have taken off the public education sweater to fully adapt the school to the market economy and to capital preferences for maximum profits, each time with a cheap, flexible workforce without rights. This new bill targeting the skills instead of all-round education of the children also serves this purpose. They want children to know only writing, reading, foreign language, computer, and a little bit of everything. To learn, to live life to meet the ephemeral needs of capital, saying that this is an anachronistic school, he added. Earlier on May 19 or so, the teachers and students organized a nationwide protest against the bill. Greek Minister for Education, Nikki Keramios, presented the new bill for the public consultation on April 23, and amendments were finalized by May 20.
Credit to People's Dispatch for the international stories. Coming up is sport. Do stay with us.